3 years ago, I would have laughed if you told me a single afternoon could replace 40 hours of my work week. I would have said that sounds like a scam, like one of those thumbnails promising you'll be a millionaire by Friday. But then I actually sat down, opened up a handful of AI tools, and by the time the sun went down, my entire workflow had changed forever. Not a little bit, not marginally better. Completely, structurally different. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how that happened, what tools I used, what mistakes I made along the way, and why I think most people are still doing this the hard way without even realizing it. Here's the thing nobody tells you about automation. It's not about working less, at least not at first. It's about removing the invisible tax you pay every single day just to stay organized. Think about how much time you spend switching between apps, copying information from one place to another, writing the same kind of email for the 10th time, or trying to remember where you saved that one file. That tax adds up to hours, sometimes entire days, and most of us just accept it as the cost of doing business. I did too, until I realized it didn't have to be that way. Before we go further, if you're the kind of person who likes learning how to actually use AI instead of just hearing about it, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel, AI Unlocked Official, is built exactly for people like you. I break down real systems, real workflows, and real results, not hype. And if this video helps you even a little, a quick like helps this reach more people who need it. Okay, let's get into it. So picture my old routine. Every morning, I would wake up, open my inbox, and immediately feel that low-grade dread. Not because the emails were terrible, but because responding to them took real mental energy. Then I'd move to my task list, which never seemed to shrink no matter how much I crossed off. Then content creation, research, scheduling, formatting, editing. By early afternoon, I was mentally fried, and I hadn't even done the creative work that actually mattered. Sound familiar? The turning point happened almost by accident. I was testing a few AI tools out of curiosity, not with any grand plan. I wanted to see if one of them could summarize a long document for me. It did in about 4 seconds, and it did it better than I would have done in 20 minutes. That one moment cracked something open in my brain. If it could do that instantly, what else could it do that I was doing manually, slowly, and honestly, worse? That question sent me down a rabbit hole. I started mapping out my entire day, every single task, no matter how small, writing captions, responding to routine emails, organizing files, scheduling meetings, formatting spreadsheets, researching topics, drafting outlines. When I laid it all out, I realized something uncomfortable. Almost none of it required my unique human judgment. Most of it was repetitive pattern work. And repetitive pattern work is exactly what AI is built to handle. So I started small. I connected an AI writing assistant to my email so it could draft replies based on the tone and context of incoming messages. At first, I was skeptical. I thought it would sound robotic or miss the point entirely. But after a few adjustments, it was picking up my style almost perfectly. I wasn't writing emails anymore. I was reviewing them. That's a completely different mental load. Reviewing takes seconds. Writing from scratch takes minutes, sometimes longer if you're overthinking your wording, which, let's be honest, we all do sometimes. Next, I moved to my content pipeline. This is where things got genuinely wild. I used an AI tool to research trending topics in my niche, another to generate outlines based on that research, and a third to turn those outlines into first drafts. Now, I want to be clear here, because this is important. The AI didn't replace my voice or my ideas. It replaced the blank page. It gave me a starting point instead of staring at nothing for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to begin. That single shift alone probably saved me 10 hours a week. Then came scheduling. If you've ever tried to coordinate a meeting between 3 or 4 people, you know the pain. The endless back and forth. Are you free Tuesday? What about Thursday? Actually, Thursday doesn't work anymore. I connected an AI scheduling assistant that handled all of that automatically, checking calendars, proposing times, sending confirmations, all without me lifting a finger. What used to take 15 messages back and forth now takes 0. By this point, I was maybe 2 hours into my experiment, and I already felt like I had unlocked a cheat code. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because the real transformation wasn't any single tool. It was what happened when I connected them together. Imagine this. A new lead fills out a form on your website. Instead of you seeing that days later, an AI system immediately captures the information, drafts a personalized welcome email, adds the contact to your organized list, and even flags anything urgent for your attention. All of that happens in the background while you're doing something else entirely, maybe having lunch, maybe working on something creative that actually needs your brain. That's not a fantasy. That's something I built in under an hour using tools that are available to anyone right now, most of them free or nearly free. Now, you might be wondering, does this actually work as well as it sounds? Or is this one of those things that looks great in a video but falls apart in real life? Fair question. I had the same doubt. So let me tell you about the mistakes because there were plenty. My first automation attempt was a disaster. I tried to get an AI tool to fully manage my social media posting schedule without giving it enough context about my brand voice. The result was generic, flat, forgettable content that didn't sound like me at all. It technically worked, the posts went out on time, but they added zero value. That taught me something crucial. Automation without direction is just chaos with good timing. The tools are only as good as the instructions and context you give them. So I went back and fixed it. Instead of vague prompts, I gave detailed examples of my past successful content. I explained my tone, my audience, my goals. The difference was night and day. Suddenly, the AI wasn't just filling a schedule, it was actually contributing ideas that felt authentic. That's the part people skip. They expect magic without setup, and then they get frustrated when the magic doesn't happen. Here's a fact that surprised me during this whole process. Studies on workplace productivity have shown that the average knowledge worker spends nearly 60% of their time on what researchers call work about work. That means coordinating, searching for information, managing communication, rather than doing the actual meaningful task they were hired for. 60%. Let that sink in for a second. That means most of us are only truly productive for less than half our working hours. When I read that, it explained exactly why my afternoon of automation felt so dramatic. I wasn't cutting corners on real work. I was eliminating the noise that was never real work to begin with. By the end of that first afternoon, here's what my new system looked like. Emails drafted automatically and waiting for my quick review. Content ideas generated and outlined before I even opened my laptop in the morning. Meetings scheduled without a single message from me. Research compiled into clean summaries instead of raw links I had to sift through myself. Files organized and labeled consistently without me manually sorting anything. And the strange part, the part that actually surprised me the most, is that I didn't feel like I was losing control. I expected to feel disconnected from my own work, like a robot was doing my job for me. But it was the opposite. I felt more in control than ever, because I was finally spending my time on decisions, creativity, and strategy. The things that actually required a human mind, instead of burning energy on tasks a machine could do faster and just as well, sometimes better. Let's talk about something people don't say enough. This isn't about replacing yourself. It's about removing friction so the parts of you that are genuinely valuable get more room to breathe. Your creativity, your judgment, your relationships, your unique perspective, none of that can be automated. But the repetitive scaffolding around those things absolutely can be. And once that scaffolding disappears, you start to notice how much of your day was actually just noise. Now here's something worth thinking about. If one afternoon can restructure an entire workflow, what does that mean for the next year of your work life? What does it mean for entire industries built around repetitive coordination tasks? We're at a strange moment where the tools already exist, powerful enough to change how we work, but most people haven't even opened the door yet. They're still doing things the old way, not because it's better, but because it's familiar. Familiar feels safe. But familiar is also where burnout lives. I want you to actually try this. Not someday, not next month when you have more time, because you'll never magically have more time. You have to create it. Pick one repetitive task you do every single day, something small, An email you always write, a report you always format, a schedule you always coordinate, and find one AI tool that can help with just that one thing. Don't try to automate your entire life in one sitting like I did out of pure curiosity. Start small, build confidence, then expand from there. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me the one task in your day that eats up the most time for the least value. I read every comment, and honestly, some of the best ideas for future videos on this channel come directly from what you share down there. If this video gave you even one idea you're excited to try, share it with someone who's stuck doing everything the hard way, because chances are they need this more than they realize. Here's the truth I keep coming back to. The future isn't about AI replacing people. It's about people who use AI replacing people who don't. That afternoon didn't just save me time. It changed how I think about work entirely. And once you see how much of your day was never really necessary, you can never fully go back to doing things the old way again.